Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new episode of Kaiju Conversation. I am your host, E.T., and joining me as always, my co-host,
Jay.
and I'm very honored to have one of the greatest Godzilla artists on the internet.
Bianca Wallace.
Well, welcome on. How are you all doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, actually.
That's great.
Perfectly fine.
Good. Um, Now today, as I said, we are having one of the greatest Godzilla artists on the internet on the show. So it's pretty usual that we're gonna have a topic that relates to who's on. So today, as you can read in the title, we will be discussing the Heisei post. Those posters are probably the most well known out of any Godzilla posters due to there is a very stylized advanced poster, and then you have the theatrical. Some have two theatrical posters, some only have one. So today we'll be discussing which poster we prefer, why we like each poster, and, overall, what is the best poster from the Heisei era. We will do our best to describe uh, what these posters look like. Jay here says he's pretty good at describing, so we will let him describe for us. Um, Before we get started, I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening, and unfortunately, we couldn't have our planned guest for our horror, but this is the second best thing, and I've been looking forward to having this episode for a long time now. So, unfortunately, for the last week of October, we will not have a horror episode, but I'm happy with what we got because this is a really nice way to end the horror uh, season. So, to get us started, we will start with the very first Heisei poster slash movie, Godzilla 1984, also known as The Return of Godzilla. So Jay, if you want to kind of describe the advanced poster for us.
Yes, the advanced poster looks very apocalyptic. Quite a heavy red tone on it, too. There's several fixtures of thunder and lightning as well. Most likely relates to Godzilla's atomic energy, perhaps, maybe on the change of the atmosphere and environment. But also, there's quite less activity that's going on with this advanced poster. Doesn't seem too fabish, but the red heavy tone is there, and it looks like it's quite more apocalyptic in its own standards.
That's a good way of describing it. So Bianca, since you are the go-to person on this episode for art, um, what do you think of the coloration and stuff used in this poster?
Well, for the advanced poster here, it really does bring out like him return. Like it's like what he says with it being apocalyptic. It really brings out like, oh, he is coming back. Like we're all going to die. It's the way to really bring out some of the adrenaline. Like, oh shoot, he's returning.
That's a very good explanation there. Jay, what do you have to say about the poster?
I'm saying it's more like chaotic, more bloody in its own textures, and it feels like, oh lordy, he's coming back. He's going to bring chaos.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Red is, now correct me if I'm wrong here, Bianca, but red is usually angry or mad or destructive when used, usually.
Yes, yes indeed.
Um, and definitely when you look at Godzilla, he is red, and the city around it is red, and to me it looks like the lightning and stuff kind of looks like it's falling down on the city, destroying it, which I think that really adds a bit of chaos, like Jay said. And I don't know if either one of you can see this, but do you see kind of like devilish wings in like the middle part by Godzilla's head? Or is that just me?
No, that's most likely just you. And there's barely any evidence of destruction on the city here. It's more as a visualization effect rather than just the lightning actually hitting several buildings and causing structural damage.
It kind of gives me a like vibe of like an angered god if you think about it.
Yes, that's probably what I was seeing in here. I agree with that a lot. The way they have it angled and stuff, he definitely feels like an angered god. That's a good way of explaining it. Well, what do Bianca, what do you think about the style of the post?
Oh, I adore it. Like I like posters that have like that are illustrated in a way like this because then it makes the creature more terrifying in a way. Like it's sharper, it's more deadly looking. He's like ready to kill. That's the kind of style that I wish to see more when it comes to Godzilla posters.
I completely agree with that statement. Um, Jay, do you have anything else you want to add in when it comes to the style?
Definitely brings in the Wrath of Godzilla right here. This calls out and screams everything about how much he would bring destruction down upon everything, on how powerful he is, and how godly he is. It's really
Yeah,
good to have these sort of posters be made for these type of Godzilla films that way, because it shows him how powerful he is.
agreed. Yeah, and going on to what Bianca and both of you said, the stylization used, I feel like is better than what a normal movie poster with the photoshopped in faces and stuff looks like. I feel like this really brings out the beauty and destruction of the movie, of any Godzilla movie, really, because like Michael Dougherty tried to show in the first trailer of Godzilla King of the Monsters, the beauty and the destruction of these beasts destroying cities. And I can kind of get the same feeling here, except Godzilla's more demonic, mainly because of his red colorization. But I definitely can see a beauty in this post. Well, here's the biggest part: advertising. How did it work for the film? Bianca, do you think this advance poster worked for the film Godzilla 1984?
You know, if they went for that style that they had Godzilla in this poster, then definitely. But with the result that we had in the movie, it was like false advertising. But I get it that the directors will have a budget when it comes to making like the costumes and the sets and everything. So they had to go for an alternative for how they want their Godzilla design to be. So if they went for the same design as they used for this poster, then definitely they would definitely advertise it so well. But because we get a more kind of goofy looking Goji, I'm not gonna complain about it. He's a best boy, but yeah.
I agree with you there. The 84 suit to me never really. It always looked wonky to me. Never as cool as other suits. Jay, do you think it worked with the advertising, or do you think it was false advertising?
It would, but also it would be false advertising about the design, because in the movie it came out very differently about how 84 looked. He didn't look exactly like intimidating as the poster you see right here. He came out different, way differently, and the performance of the movie wasn't too ambient or anything special, unfortunately. I would have to agree with Bianca here about that statement.
Yeah, and I definitely agree too. This poster makes Godzilla seem like a full-fledged villain, while in the film he kind of was given more of that he's only here because we keep screwing up kind of vibe instead of he's here to kill us because he hates us. So again, I vote yes, this was false advertising. It looks awesome, but in the end, it does not mirror what the actual film had. I guess moving on, Jay, can you describe the theater poster of Godzilla 1984 to everybody?
The theater poster here feels a bit too weak. It tries to go for that one 1950s futuresque way of how everything is for like a movie. And it shows the 84 design for the face, but it looks weird and crunched up in a way that it just doesn't feel like it's really a part of his design, and it just doesn't feel right. At least there's city destruction that you could see in the poster and see what's happening, but it feels more like a James Bondish kind of poster than what is actually happening there.
Yeah, you can kind of see, like you said, the destruction of the city in the middle, but around it's got fighter jets, the nuke used in the film, and the Super X, and then it's got a photoshopped Godzilla 84, which definitely does not fit there. But Bianca, what do you think of the coloration used in the theatrical post?
Um, well, I'm not going to complain about the coloration that they used for the sky. If only they placed it with Godzilla, because it does feel Photoshop. The Godzilla does feel Photoshop, just like slapped onto like a random background. If they like use the right shading to fit with the background and even made the explosion much more like how they had it in the advanced poster, then it would have been much better. But of course, this is what came out. So I don't know. It's just everything just feels so photoshopped.
Yeah. Jay, do you have it? Do you agree with that, or what's your views on the coloration of this post?
The coloration feels fine, but the devs or the artists behind the poster thought it was a good idea to just at least put Godzilla right there in that form and think that everything will be just fine, everything will just match up well. But then again, it really doesn't work. Bianca is right in the statement that it feels way too photoshopped. It does not mix in well with the coloring. It just doesn't feel like it's an actual really developed creative poster. It just feels more like something that's lazily put there.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially when it comes to the shading of Godzilla. It feels weird because you have the explosion in the middle, which you would think is trying to be the main source of color or lighting. But then you have Godzilla having sunlight, it looks like, on the top of his head, but it also looks like his arms being colored up by the explosion. It definitely does feel like they cut out Godzilla and they shoved it on this poster, made the back bright so you could clearly see Godzilla, and didn't give any care about how the lighting with the explosion. It
It
definitely
just
feels.
it
Go
just
for it.
definitely doesn't feel like it fits there. It feels too off.
And especially the fighter planes in the background. Uh, they definitely feel like they are randomly thrown in.
They're only randomly thrown in there so that way they could add a 3D effect to the painting. They try to make it all sort of 3D, but really it just doesn't fit.
Because
Yep.
you got a real life image of Godzilla, and then you have all these illustrations just floating around. It just doesn't mix well.
Yeah, it definitely collides with each other. Speaking of mixing well, what do you think, Bianca, of the style of this post?
I mean, if they had like real images of like the set and the props used, then it would fit. But if they changed Godzilla, like if they illustrated that to fit with the style of the explosion in cities and all the props in the background, then that would have like been perfect. Like I
Yeah,
would really wish to see more illustrations in these posters, like I said. But that's just me.
yeah. I agree with that. Definitely if they were able to combine, I personally prefer, like I said, with the advanced poster, I prefer having the drawings instead of the actual photoshopped in images. So definitely it would have been better if they had kept it all one thing instead of trying to combine two separate worlds into one poster. Jay, what do you think of the style of the poster?
It just doesn't feel strong to me. It just feels weak because they try to combine everything as a 3D model. They try to make it like it's all moving. The jets is like flying around Godzilla. The missiles are coming in to hit him. The X2 is coming from the city and such, and it just doesn't add up too well. It
Yeah.
just doesn't add up as an art piece.
Yeah, I personally, if I were to, or actually that's for the next topic, never mind. Yeah, I agree. The style of this poster definitely, it's lacking and it feels like they weren't sure what exactly to do. They just kind of threw it together and was like, okay, that looks somewhat fine. Godzilla's menacing-ish. Which he kind of does look a little bit on the dopey side, but that's mainly because that suit kind of looks weird at a straight-on angle. Um, but I was about to bring up advertising, so Bianca, do you think this film advertised the movie correctly?
Yes, because it's the actual design of Godzilla that they used in the film. Uh, I don't remember if they actually advertised like the weapons, because it's been a while since I've actually rewatched the film. And with advertising the actors on the bottom, yes, this is good. I have to say, with advertising, it's spot on.
Jay, do you have anything else to add for advertising?
Yes, I definitely think that this does show stuff for the film, but at the same time, it really doesn't give a strong connectivity of how the film should be. It just feels just too weak to be an actual good advertising poster. It needs more work. It just needs more improvement so that way it can be better because it just doesn't feel right.
I gotcha. So you vote no for good advertising.
No, because it just doesn't feel strong to me. It just feels weak.
I gotcha. And I like that we have a little bit division there. Personally, I see how it does work. It shows generally what happened. You had the nuke, you had the satellites, you had the jets, the Super X. You have the Godzilla used in the movie, and I can kind of see where this does make sense. The the main part with the buildings and all the people does feel like, again, you're still false advertising, but overall from the movie, personally, I think it's not as good as some people think it is. I think that this was good advertising. This kind of was middle of the road, just as the film was. um Now, the big decision whether or not which is better. Bianca, what is your favorite poster for the Godzilla 1985 movie, 84?
I have to go for the illustrated one. If they didn't do false advertising with the Godzilla design, then definitely yes. But I really adore the illustration one because it shows more of him having revenge. You know?
Yes. Awesome. Uh, Jay, which one do you prefer?
illustration, because it shows a lot more power into him. It shows Godzilla's wrath entirely, and it really is a strong poster. I could sense the feeling of how wrathful Godzilla is in that poster compared to the theatrical one.
And it looks like it's a shutout. I vote advance poster. I prefer the illustrated one. It looks better. It's more stylized. It pops out more than the other one would against other movie posters. Godzilla's menacing. The coloration looks good. And then you have the theatrical one that feels more like it's photoshopped together. So, that is 3 votes for advance poster, 0 for theater poster. I will be keeping a tally on which overall versions are better. So at the end, I will reveal which one the vote. Now, we will move on to the next film in the Heisei era, Godzilla vs. Biolante. Starting off with the advance poster, Bianca, what do you think of the coloration of this poster?
I really adore the green and the blues, but that red really does stand out, showing like, hey, look at my face. I got teeth and I'm ready to fight. I love how they added that and the lighting, along with how the vines are also seen along Godzilla. That's really good. And the style of it all just, yes, I love it.
Jay, what do you think about the coloration?
The coloration really goes well with the bioluminescence. It looks so natural. It mixes in well with the plant environment and everything, and it mixes in well with Biolante. It really screams out environmental stuff, and it just really goes in well. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The only thing I don't care for a lot is Godzilla's eyes don't really stand out that well because of how it appears to blend in with the red rose. But overall, I have to agree. The greens and the blues definitely, they look nice. I love those 2 colors together, and I love it in here. It definitely matches in the pink. It shouts, "I'm a new monster. You are going to fear me." Yeah, and I especially like how, you have all these greens and blues, and then you have a little white in the corner of the Super X2. I love that little detail. Moving on to style, I think we are all going to agree with this, but Bianca, what do you think of the stylized of this post?
Of course, illustrations are the thing that warms my heart the most.
Same here.
But I feel like Godzilla's a little bit too chunky, but that's not much of a big deal since he is a chunker boy. But other than that, I really do like it. I like the style of it. It's sharp. It's dangerous. It brings out how terrifying Biolante really is.
Yeah. Jay, what are your opinions on the stylization?
The stylization really stands out. Biolante here really looks good as a plant, as an environmental living plant. Although Godzilla is like a chunky boy, but he's always been a chunky boy throughout the whole film, so not really too bad of a thing to worry about. And Biolante looks volatile. She looks like she's really weaponized to be ready to take down Godzilla. Like, she really looks so intimidating. And she looks really good.
I gotcha. And I forgot to describe this to everybody at home. Basically, you have Godzilla standing in the middle with red eyes, with Biolante's flower form in the back, kind of angling up like a mountain, and then a huge thorny rose petal in the middle, with vines going out around it in the background, a blue sky, and then in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see the Super X2. If you're listening to us on something other than YouTube, definitely I would recommend searching these posters up as we talk about them. Anyway,
Yeah.
my opinion on the style, as much as I like this, I don't care for Godzilla's design. His head feels like it's too small and unproportioned from the rest of his body. I do like the detail of the vine on Godzilla's thigh. I think that's awesome. And I love, like I said, the Super X, and I love the vines, but the heads on the two vines by Biolante's flower form face, they look weird to me. One looks like a fish, and the other looks like a miniature Biolante. And that kind of throws me off. And then I also kind of feel like the flower petal form of Biolante, the main flower petal part, feels like it was thrown on there without really any connection. That may just be me, but I don't care for the way this one feels like it may have been a little rushed before it came out. But I do like it still. I just feel like it could have been a little bit better. So this is my first bad review for the styling of an. Moving on to advertising. Bianca, do you think this poster advertised the film correct?
It somewhat did, but then of course as a final result we got Biolante with more like an alligator snout and more rigid spines and having more of the petals and stuff. If they kept the design that they had in this poster for the entire movie, then yes. But other than that, they did do a good advertising that we are going to get a plant-like monster. So it's in between of yes and no, in a way.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with that statement.
Spoke the words out of my mouth, Bianca.
Jay, is there anything else you would say? It sounds like she kinda said exactly what you were thinking.
Well, she took the last part. Yes and no. Because if the kaiju was like that the whole time, then yeah, that would be good for advertising. But no, she changes into a different form, a crocodilic form. But at least it still keeps its plant-like structure. At least it still stays as like a bioluminescent plant-like kaiju. At least it stays on that path.
Yeah. Personally, I feel like this advertised it well. This really emphasized the first fight, and it's exactly what it was. It was Godzilla fighting a Rose. Now, yes, Biolante slightly over-exaggerated, but I feel like it still worked. I can kind of see maybe the snout of the finalized form of Biolante coming out of the middle of the rose. I could see that being the reason why it has a row of teeth in the middle, like it did in the film. Like I said though, like Godzilla to me just something's not right. He doesn't look right to me. I don't know why, but overall, I feel like this advertised it correct, personally. Uh, so I guess we can move on to the theatrical poster. I also like how we all kind of. I was against you guys a lot on Biolante's advance poster, but Bianca, the coloration of the theatrical poster. What do you think?
I really do like the dark theme in the poster and the fact that Biolante's core is glowing in it. I just like the dark theme in it because, of course, the scene happened during a dark event. So
Yeah. Jay, do you say that statement too, or what do you think?
The dark, scenic part of this colorization is nice. The core for Biolante's glowing part is really good as well, but it kind of shows too much of what the whole movie is going to be like for the fights and such. But overall, it looks really good and it looks tense for its tone.
Yeah, and real quick, I forgot to describe it again. Basically, it's Biolante with a vine wrapped around Godzilla's neck, with Biolante, basically biting Godzilla's head. And that's basically it. It's a very simplified post. I
Yeah.
have to agree. I do love the coloration, and I find it interesting how the lighting by Godzilla's fins kind of makes me feel like he's the hero, yet he's obviously the villain in the story. And Biolante with the red core kind of gives me that villain vibe. Even the red eyes of Biolante give me that villain vibe. So it's really awesome how it kind of led you to think from the colors that it may be Godzilla's the hero and Biolante's the villain, while actually in the film it's switched roles. Um, and I like the darker. It gives it a more realistic tone, and I definitely can see this working out and people being interested because of the darker, more realistic tone. Um, moving on to style, Bianca, do you like the style of this?
I definitely like the style. I really do because of like the detailing of the lighting and the dark area. But I don't know, it could just be me, but I just feel like it's kind of spoiling what's gonna happen. But yet again, it kind of gives you like that cliffhanger of, oh my god, is that really how Godzilla's going to die or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Jay, what do you think?
It's tense. It shows a lot about the scene here with the poster, and it shows how the action is really gonna go. It really does bring tensity and volume into towards the film.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Uh, Personally, I prefer the style. I do like it. Like I said earlier, it's a very simple design. It's not overly complicated. It's just plain out Godzilla, Biolante, raw. It's not trying to add in something that's not needed. It's very simple. It's appealing to me. I really like it, and it kind of gives away spoilers, but I also think in the trailer it showed Biolante's final form, so I'm not too upset over it. But I definitely think that this is. It would have me go see the film because it's an original kaiju. It looks horrifying. Biolante in this looks scary. He's You're looking up at him, so he's already this kind of strong figure. The red eyes, the red mouth, the jagged teeth, the red core, everything about it makes me think Biolante is the villain of this story. It's just I really like how they portrayed this theatrical poster. Um, Now, speaking of spoilers, Bianca, do you think this film did not do good on this poster, do you think it advertised the film right, or do you think it was false advertising?
It did do good advertising. And I forgot to mention this in the last one that it gave, uh, like I said, it did give you the idea of, yes, he's going up against a plant monster. But then it goes like, what? So it's something more deadly. And so this poster brings out how deadly it is. And I do wish that maybe if they added the same thing from the advanced poster to this one, they would give people the shock of, wait, that's not Biolante's like true badass form? Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Jay?
and the theater poster looks really good. The advertising part does do well on this one, but it kind of shows a bit much about what's going to happen in one of the scenes and what time of day the fight is going to take place. But overall, it really does show a lot of density, volume, intensity on how it's going to go down, on how this kaiju could potentially be a bigger threat than Godzilla, and that Godzilla is going to be having a rough time fighting against this kaiju. And it brings a lot of influence of how the fight is going to go down between Godzilla and Biollante, and it leaves people thinking what is going to happen and how it's all going to go down from this sort of scene with that movie. But I
Yeah.
feel like it's best maybe to keep it a little bit of a secret how this is going to happen and how it should be made.
It's kinda like I said before, I would go see this. It definitely gives me a feeling Godzilla's the good guy. So it does kind of throw people off, but I think it throws them off in a good way. It's not lying, it's just the coloration can be taken to the idea of it's Godzilla's the good guy and Biolante's the bad guy. So, yeah, I definitely think this poster goes through on advertising. Um, Now the real question is, which is better? Bianca, which one do you vote for?
I'm gonna have to go for the theater poster.
Theater poster gets a single point. Jay, your opinion.
I'll have to agree with the theater poster here because it does show that sort of good and evil tie and how it might eventually go ahead and switch on itself once you watch the movie. But then again, Godzilla's mainly a balancing force. You could probably see that already once when you start watching the film. It goes either or, good or bad.
And I'm gonna have to go with theater poster. They are now tied up. It's like I said, like Jay said, and what we've all been basically saying. The theater poster really gives you an idea of what's going to happen in the film. It doesn't try too hard to make it look bad. It does a fair job in balancing what needs to be in there and what doesn't. I like it. Godzilla does look a little photoshopped, but I don't mind that. It looks pretty good to me. So, it's all tied up. Advanced poster, 3. Theater poster, 3. Now we're going to move on to, I would argue, the most popular Godzilla poster ever. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. The 1991 advanced poster. If you don't know what this is, I don't know how you're listening to us because this is probably the most well-known poster from the Godzilla franchise. It has Godzilla holding 2 of Ghidorah's heads as Ghidorah is wrapping around him and shooting his gravity beam. This poster is amazing. I own a large print of it. Definitely one of the greatest posters I've ever seen. But I'm not gonna say that's what I'm gonna pick. Just saying it's really good. So Bianca, what do you think of the coloration used for this poster?
I really do like the coloration of this really well. The gold effects on each Ghidorah head, the lighting on Godzilla, and just all of it is just full out illustrated. And I do appreciate the work that these artists put into this. What I am gonna complain a little bit is the idea of Ghidorah, like one of them's shooting a red gravity beam, the other one's shooting the classic coloration, the other one's shooting a blue one. that one I was like a bit confused, and I was thinking, is this like an early concept idea of Ghidorah having different color gravity beams for each head to kind of separate them?
That is true, actually. In the original idea for the film, Ghidorah was going to have a red, gold, and blue gravity beam. Uh, I don't know why they would do that. I'm happy they didn't, but I found that interesting that they were going to really do that.
I find that interesting
Um,
too, but it seems like they were trying to go for a differential path here, so that way they won't have it as the same head. But I could see where this influences another movie.
yeah. Um, now, Jay, do you like the coloration used?
It all fits. It's really good. Like Bianca, the only problem I have is the gravity beam. Really makes it very confusing as to why three of the heads are firing different colorization of the beams. But if it gets like toned in a bit and turned into the same one, then it'll actually be good. It really does inspire that tone of like Ghidorah being like a snake and such, and the colors of the gold and everything else really fit. And you can see Godzilla's eyes clearly right there. Really looks good.
Yeah. Uh, to be honest here, I'm gonna have to disagree with both you. I do love the gravity beams. I feel like it gives each one a different kind of personality. It may not be accurate to the final look in the film, but I personally really like it. I like the colors. They all kind of fit to me. It definitely feels like it should be a mural on a wall or something. But before I get too into detail, Bianca, do you like this style?
I really do. And with the gravity beam talk, I ain't gonna complain about it too much. I mean, because in the old days, Ghidorah was just a unison, so that's why I was a little confused on that. But other than that, I adore this style. I really do
Uh,
love it.
Jay,
I
do you
really
have
adore
any?
it as well. This style really fits in very well. It's poster worthy for a wall for anyone to buy. People should take it home and just place it on their wall, somewhere near their bed, somewhere where they could wake up and see it all the time and admire it. It just really looks good.
I completely agree with all that. Yeah, this design and style that this poster has is really good. It's influenced a lot of other posters for Godzilla stuff. Specifically, King of the Monsters used it a lot. Um, and I love it. I love the idea of Ghidorah wrapping around Godzilla, and Godzilla holding the heads and is like, "You're not going anywhere." Uh, I really do like this design. Now the real question is, did it work for advertising? Bianca?
I think it does, in a way. I mean, it's more dramatic because you get to actually see like Ghidorah wrapping himself on Godzilla instead of like being a floating prop, just bobbing its head up and down, making these bitty bitty bomb bomb noises. But I like it. It advertised it well with how the battle would kind of be. I mean, I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so I could be wrong, but I think it did a good job.
Jay, what do you think?
I believe this is really a good poster. It just really needs some fixing here and there, but further all, it just really looks good. I like how Ghidorah really reacts here, how he tries to put Godzilla in a chain lock, and it just really sets up that tone. Just one of the best posters that you would ever see and would ever want to buy for your room.
And I third that. I love the advertising this poster shows. It doesn't go away from the original intent of the film. Um, Now, like we pointed out, yes, the gravity beams don't make sense when you see film. Um, but I personally think it adds a bit of unique. It gives this poster some unique aspect. Something that stands out among the other Ghidorah stuff. The fact that he has three colors instead of one. Godzilla's eyes are red. That's awesome. He looks menacing, and Ghidorah's eyes stand out really well, too. And then, you have a nuke in the middle, which I don't understand that entirely. Maybe there's a nuke in the original draft. But, I'm fine with that. I do love this poster, and I definitely think it advertised well. Um, Moving down to the first theater poster, this is the first film that has two different ones. This is Godzilla in the middle, using his atomic breath with Ghidorah looming overhead, with the left and right heads using their gravity beams off screen, and a couple of buildings with a bunch of fire. If you own the TriStar DVD release of Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, you know what I'm talking about. Um, so Bianca, what do you think about the coloration of this poster?
Um, I really like the coloration on Godzilla with the blue glowing along his body and with Ghidorah with his gold, of course. I just don't know the atomic breath coloration though. Just kind of feels bland a bit. Like both of their beams, like Ghidorah's and Godzilla's, just feel bland. It's just like there.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Jay, do you second that, or what do you think?
It looks like the only thing that I like about that poster is Godzilla and the gold effects for Ghidorah. The eyes are non-visible right there. The atomic breath and the graviton beams look so weird. Just doesn't fit. Feels like another Photoshop, and it just feels like it's too funky. Everything looks nice by far with the colorization for Godzilla's body and Ghidorah, but just doesn't feel right.
Huh. Personally, I love the sky background. I think the sky background is amazing. I love that coloration. Um, Ghidorah, I'm fine with. I don't mind how he looks. I agree his gravity beams do look a little monocolor. They're not as colorful and as bright as they should be. I love Godzilla. I think the atomic breath is fair. I like Bianca said, I love the blue that's going with Godzilla. And I love how Ghidorah is a lot taller than Godzilla. I personally think the coloration used in this does work, right? Still, it doesn't take away from anything really. The only thing I would say maybe that doesn't fit is the buildings down below in the middle. But before I get too into detail, because usually when I talk a lot, I get into the style of it. Bianca, what do you think of the style?
Now, I do like this. I do like how Godzilla and Ghidorah kind of have a illustration look. Like it has a little bit of it, but Godzilla does feel a little goofy with the eyes, and so does Ghidorah's eyes as well. And the fact that the buildings along the bottom don't fit along with how the characters are. If they made like, how do I say? It's just it doesn't match well. It just if they blended the colors more with the explosion, Godzilla and Ghidorah with like how the background is, then it would fit. But other than that, I do like the illustration style. I just wish they didn't make him look goofy in a way. He kind of just looks like he just got back from a party and he's like high out of his mind.
Yeah, I see that. Looking at his eyes, I definitely see that. Jay, do you have anything you would like to add?
Yeah, Godzilla looks like he got. I'm sorry. It looks like he drank way too much and he's just hiccuping or barfing out atomic stuff. Like, literally, both Ghidorah and Godzilla here look like drunkards. They just got like, hey, I'm gonna get out of here and do a nice pose. And I'm gonna have to vomit out some atomic stuff, but whatever. I had fun last night. Don't judge me.
That's a good explanation. Personally, I can see where they cut out Godzilla and some of Ghidorah, so that kind of throws me off. Godzilla looks high, or at least he's an animated character. Um, and I don't mind the left or right head's eyes, but looking at the middle, one of the eyes looks like it's staring at Godzilla, and the other looks like he's got a lazy eye, and he's staring off at Kevin, because Kevin's missing the tail, and he's like shooting something else. Uh, I think the upset with him. The eye looks very angry. And like Bianca said, and like I said a little bit prior, the buildings down below don't fit. I feel like they were just thrown in because Godzilla couldn't really mix well with the flames, so they just threw in the buildings because they had nothing else to do. So I guess we'll move on now to advertising. Bianca, does this one advertise the film very well?
Somewhat in a way, yes. If Godzilla wasn't so goofy, then yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, they're not wrong about the design of the characters. Just, it did a pretty good job at somewhat advertising. I mean, people would go for like the first poster and go, wow, that's cool. I'm gonna watch the movie. But if they saw the second poster or the third one, they just kind of go, huh? Because it doesn't look so dramatic. It just looks like a puppet that you would find on Sesame Street just shooting LED lights.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that.
Poster looks
Jake?
fine-ish. It really doesn't do very well. It looks like a bunch of puppets that were bought from the store that was supposed to be going for a crossover for either the Muppets or Sesame Street, just like what Bianca said. It just doesn't feel all the more exciting, just feels a bit too goofy, and it just doesn't fit well for the advertising part of it. And I could see a bunch of people being led off by this poster. It's not really good.
Um, yeah, I basically that's how I feel. Um, I would say this: if they could redo Ghidorah and Godzilla, I love the background sky and I love the burning flame effects. If they could find a way to stylize Ghidorah and Godzilla in that same way, I would love this poster, but they kind of just photoshopped them in, put in some gravity beams and atomic breath, gave Godzilla cartoon eyes and Ghidorah lazy eyes staring off at Kevin as Kevin stares onto the ground. So,
Cue
you
in
know,
the
it's
Looney Tunes theme.
so yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this one, but I'm curious to see what we think of this second theatrical poster. In the movie, there's a scene where Ghidorah's middle head wraps around Godzilla. That's basically it, except it's got a red background. In the left head, our right, Ghidorah's left head shooting off in the distance for some reason. Bianca, what do you think of the colors used in this one?
Hmm. For the second theater poster, hmm.
Yes.
I like how they kept the background like how they did for the second poster. I really like that. If they blended it in with the characters more, like maybe add like a red hue to the both of them, then yeah, definitely. But other than that, I really like it. They kind of improved on the beams, but I do wish that it wasn't like a JPEG image over like, an image. But other than that, I like it.
Jay, what's your thoughts?
It looks good. It's fine, even though it's showing too much of Godzilla on the backside. They did better this time on the graviton beam and design, but I have to say the coloring looks good, just not placed in right. Maybe if they moved it a bit towards the left a little, they could have gotten it a bit more. I could see that white spot on the top left right there. It is covering one of Ghidorah's antlers, as you would so call it, and it just is too bright. It's like something that a vampire would go like, light, I get like it's too bright.
Yeah, I'm not going to say a whole lot, because I'm going to wait for style, but I'm not a fan of the colors used in this at all, personally. But Bianca, what do you think of the style?
I like the style. I mean, both the background and the characters realistic, not too goofy. I still wish that they could have added like more of like the background to the characters to make it more dramatic or something. But other than that, it's decent. It's acceptable. I'm fine with it.
And Jay, your thoughts?
It looks decent. Everything looks like it's in a nice, serious tone. They could have done better here with the whole visuals and everything with the poster, but it just it's at least it's not bad. Good. It's just okay. Just
Okay.
needs more improvement.
I think it looks awful. It's just, when I look at Godzilla, I can see blue from the sky, because they cut it out and they missed the pixel on a lot of stuff. I I hate Ghidorah. Ghidorah looks wonky. One of the heads feels like it was laid over. Um, I just, I don't know how this poster looks good to me. I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking I could do a better PNG of that, PGN, whatever, and throw it on than what this is. I don't know why. I can't stand this poster. Uh, moving on, because I'm just going to keep crapping on this poster. Advertising. Bianca, does this advertise the film well?
Yes, it does. It's less goofy than the second one, but yeah, it did.
Jay?
It worked as advertising, but it just looks too not into it. It just doesn't look that great. It's better than the last one. It's not goofy, but it just doesn't work too well as a ways of attracting people. It works somewhat as advertising, but it just doesn't.
I gotcha. I'm gonna be honest here. I prefer the second poster over the third. I'm fine with High Godzilla and Lazy Eye Ghidorah. I cannot get over the bad cutout. I think that this doesn't advertise the film at all. Um, it just it feels like it tried to be the best of both posters before it, having Ghidorah look realistic and Godzilla look realistic, while also keeping that wrapped around Godzilla look. And I think it looks awful. So it's quite obvious that the third poster is not my favorite. But Bianca, what's your favorite?
I'm gonna have to go for the first poster, the illustrated one. It's much more threatening.
Jay?
I would have to go for the first one too. It's way more influential and it's totally intimidating. Shows a lot in that poster, and it does really bring a next level tone for the film there.
And yes, illustrated advanced poster for me as well. I can't stand the third poster. I absolutely hate it.
Same.
I just, oh my god, I hate it. I hate it. I want it to never be a thing. It hurts to think that was. Um, I'm fine with High Godzilla. I just, uh,
I can't
yeah.
deal with that either. I just feel like Godzilla is trying to pose for some reason there, while Ghidorah's trying to grab him. It's like, what are you doing? What are you trying to do?
I might do a doodle of this later of E.T. just raging about the third poster. I'm gonna do it.
So now we know what gets me ticked. Somebody saying the third Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah poster's good.
just show him like an image of like a new version of the Godzilla third poster and just have it be all weird. Just have Godzilla have on the background is like, what? How dare you show me this weird pic again?
uh, that's well, I guess we can move on to. No offense, but we're kind of declining in quality here. Godzilla vs. Mothra, also released as Godzilla and Mothra: The Battle for Earth.
Oh boy.
The advanced poster has a family picture. You have two Mothra larvae and an egg in the bottom middle. Godzilla kind of like, ooh, look at me, I'm over here. Yay, I'm posing. And then you have Mothra kind of like, here, honey, Godzilla, let me put my wing around you. And then there's like some weird smoke thingy, infant islands at the bottom. And I don't know. Bianca, what do you think of the colors of this?
I like the soft colors. It seems soft to me on like the soft colors on Mothra really does show how gentle she is. And then you got Godzilla all charcoal and rough.
Mm-hmm. Jay, do you speak similar thoughts?
Soft colors here really looks nice. Looks calm and peaceful. Godzilla right next to Mothra, covering up the wings and such, doesn't really fit too well. As opposed to him being more of a villain for the movie, but it just doesn't add too much to it. It doesn't really give too much any meaning towards the poster here for Godzilla being just so bleak and dark.
Yeah. And I'm gonna agree with Bianca on this one. I love the soft colors of Mothra. I love the vibrant colors too of like the smoke and the Mothra eggs and Godzilla. The only issue is in the text Godzilla versus Mothra, also known as Gojira Tai Mothra, the Godzilla, the backward C, it kind of blends in with the wing, so it kind of, I don't care for that as much. They could have probably placed that at a better location. But overall, I do like the artwork. I think the color scheme is very nice. Bianca style, do you like it or do you dislike it?
I am gonna have to complain about the fact that Godzilla looks like he's just standing there, kind of acting like an awkward person in a photo shoot, and I don't know. It just kind of feels out of place of it. Like you could see how the Mothra larva looks a bit confused in it. But other than that, I do like the style. It looks cute. It looks somewhat threatening with the fact that, oh yeah, Godzilla's there, okay, we're screwed. But I just do wish that they were accurate when it comes to size. I mean, Mothra was not a big lady.
Yeah. Jay, do you say similar thoughts or do you like it?
I like how she is, but she looks too big to be something like that. Just doesn't fit for that kind of thing. But she is a goddess. She is the queen of the monsters. So I guess I could see why they would have her in that sort of size, but it just doesn't fit for that part with advertising that we're go into. Everything else just looks nice. It looks great. Looks calming. Godzilla has that other set of tone that looks like he's going to be vile. He's going to be more dark. But overall, it just looks nice.
I gotcha. And personally, I don't care for the style. Like I said, to me it feels like a family picture, which doesn't make sense at all to me. And Godzilla's tail looks like it was chopped off to me. Uh, it's I don't know. It just looks weird to me. So I don't care for that as much. It looks like we're starting to push time a little bit, so we're just gonna speed run through advertisements. Bianca, do you like it?
I like it. It does a very good job at it.
Jay, do you think it did well with advertising?
It really did. Feels nice to look at once in a while, and it's nice to put wherever you want to put in your room.
I gotcha. Personally, I dislike it, but that's like I said, it feels like a family picture to me, and I can't get over that. Moving on to the theater poster. Bianca, we're gonna combine color and style now, to help keep time up. Do you like the color and style of the poster?
I do like the colors indeed. I like how Mothra is more vibrant. They kept Godzilla with him charging up his beam, which is good. And I just do wish that they would take away the whole Photoshop effect looking like with Batra and Mothra larva down on the bottom. That just feels out of place to me. But other than that, it's really good. I like it.
Yeah,
It
and Jay?
it really looks good. I like the effects on Mothra here, including Godzilla with his own beam, but the Photoshop just doesn't do all that well. It needs a bit more improvement for it to be actually good, and some things here and there just doesn't fit. It feels like, oh, they're putting stuff here and there just so that way it could probably look nice and tidy with like a bow tie, but it just feels like it's out of place and loose a little, and it just doesn't feel all that pretty.
Yeah. And personally, I do like this poster. Um, like I'm gonna voice your guys the same opinion. Batra and the Mothra larva feel like they were kind of forced on there. They could have cut those two out, and I would have been fine with the poster. But they kept them in, and it looks weird to me. Um, Bianca, what do you think about advertising? Do you think it worked?
It does work very, very well. I just wish like maybe if they kept Batra hidden, then it would have been like a surprise or something. But other than that, it's good. Good advertising.
Yeah. And Jay?
Yeah, I would have to say it really does work for advertising, but they should have cut off the Mothra larva and then try to cover up Batra a little, so that way it could be kept more as a surprise. But yeah, this poster looks really good. I just rather have Mothra's larva get like cut off because we already have Mothra here. That's already like the full package.
I gotcha. And personally, yeah, I think it did well with advertising myself. It shows basically all you need to know. Now the real question is, which one do you guys prefer, advanced or theatrical?
I'm gonna
So,
have to
Bianca,
go for theatrical.
score 1 for theatrical, and Jay,
I'll have to go for the advanced.
advanced. Here we go. And I'm gonna have to side with Bianca on this one. I hate family pictures, and I definitely hate that poster. So, theatrical poster. The score is now 7 advanced, 5 theatrical. Moving on to Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, also released as Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. The advanced poster has the awesome design for Mechagodzilla that should have been in the film instead of a dopey whatever.
I wish you all
looking.
could see my face right now about the theatrical. And that's my reaction there to whoever's coughing in the background.
Oh, that's my
Yeah.
dad sneezing. I do apologize.
It's
Yeah,
all
that's
good.
me right now with the theatrical.
Um, I love Rodan. Rodan looks, he's kind of red. His wings are all charred up, and Godzilla's in the middle, kind of small and graphic. This reminds me of a kind of 80s animated show from like a darker animated show like Heavy Metal or something. So Bianca, what do you think of the color and style of this advanced poster?
I really love this poster. This is one of my second favorite posters ever, the advanced one, because
Yes!
of how badass freaking Mechagodzilla looks, and I love the way that Rodan's wings are actually torn up and stuff. Like how gruesome you can tell from this poster that, oh my lord, Godzilla's going up against something way more advanced than what any other kaiju he's been up to. Holy crap, this is gonna be exciting. Just the darkness around Mechagodzilla just shows how I love it. It's like I love it. It brings tears of joy to my face.
Jay,
yes,
what do you think?
Yes, yes. This poster is really good. Inspired one of the best films that I freaking love, and it really, really sets up that tone that this mech is really powerful. The humans found a way, a countermeasure against Godzilla, really sets up that tone for hopelessness for Rodan right there. Really, really sets that up very well. Including, it really goes for the 80s dark vibe shows that they mostly sometimes put in like dark cities and like actual bad places. It really fits and it's perfect.
Yeah, my only question for this poster is why couldn't this have been the movie? I love it. I know I'm copying you, Bianca and Jay, but I absolutely love this poster. I just I wish I already like the movie. I like that movie. I don't mind Mechagodzilla's dopey look, but this is awesome. This would have been like this could have been a graphic movie. Mechagodzilla's awesome in here. I love his look. He looks vicious. He looks awesome. I wish they could have done something like this. I would love if Toho listening, which they're not, but if Toho could just do an animated movie with this design, that would be awesome. It works. Do an anime like an old-fashioned anime. It would work perfectly. I'm not kidding. This works amazingly.
Yes,
This poster
because
is
this
great.
guy looks like a bloody Terminator.
It felt like they
that's-
just had more, but they had more money to fit the budget, which is understandable because it's hard. It's hard to like have a budget, like a high amount of money to make it, and then expect to earn much more than what you've made and what you used to make the movie. It's understandable, but I'm glad that we at least get it as a figure. That's a
Yeah.
score.
Yeah, at least we got that. But so color and style, I think we all have agreed that it is way better and amazing. So now it's to advertising. Did this advertise the film very well? Bianca?
False advertising, but I still would. But even if it is false advertising, that poster would definitely want me to go to the theaters to see a movie.
I'm gonna butt ahead of Jay here. She just took the words out of my mouth. She just did.
Okay.
Jay,
False
what do you think?
advertising, but it really doesn't matter because this really would pull a lot of people in on how this movie would be really good. Like, it really gives that tone for people to go like, whoa, this movie is going to be good. This poster looks insane. I just really
Yeah.
love it. It'll bring a lot of people in.
I think we can all agree here that this is. I know King Ghidorah is the most popular and is a really good poster, but I think we can all agree that this is a really good poster too. I won't say it's the best yet, but we'll get there eventually.
I have to go ahead and say about the theatrical version already because the theatrical version looks dull. It looks bad. Doesn't look good, look as good as the advanced version. It just doesn't seem that better than the advanced. The advanced looks way more superior than the theatrical.
Yeah, and for everybody at home, if you own the Blu-ray or DVD of Mechagodzilla 2, it's that. If you don't, it's Rodan in the background, Mechagodzilla in the right hand up top, Godzilla in the bottom left. So color and style, Jay kind of already expressed his feelings. Bianca, what do you think?
Mechagodzilla looks too round. Like he's just too smooth. I wish he was rigid, but other than that, I'm not gonna complain too much about. The colors are just all over the place. You got reds, you got grays, you got blues. It's all over the place. It's not really contrasting well. So yeah, I don't really much agree with all of it, but I still like the character designs.
Yeah,
Still like it.
and personally, it feels like the movie. It feels like the coloration of the movie. It's very realistic. The at least we can say the Photoshop got better from 1991.
True that.
It's better than that theatrical poster 2 and the third poster of King Ghidorah that sucks. But it's whatever. It's fine to me. I like how Rodan's in the back. He's kind of like that secondary character nobody remembers. So I'm fine with that. I like that. That works. Advertising. Bianca, do you think it advertised it well?
Yeah, advertise it definitely.
Jay?
It does advertise, but still, it doesn't look like it's good enough to bring people over. It just feels like Godzilla looks a bit dull in here. The designs looks nice, but the theatrical poster here for Godzilla just doesn't really look all that great.
Yeah. Personally, it tells you what the movie's saying. It's fine. It's not, it may not be as exciting or awesome as the advanced poster, but it's fine. I would go see a movie like that. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's just kind of middle of the road. Moving on, 'cause we're over time now. The advanced poster for Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Very stylized, very trend mastered.
Yes.
Space Godzilla's in the back. You have the space jet of Mogera in the upper left-hand corner, the tower, Mothra in the middle-ish, Godzilla in the bottom middle, Baby Godzilla in the exact middle, Mogira off to the side. You know, Bianca, color and style, do you like this one?
Okay. If you know me for a while, Space Godzilla is one of my favorite all-time Godzilla enemies ever.
Same here.
So I like how they make him look very terrifying with the style. I really like, of course, the illustrations because I'm a very artsy person. I love it. The colorations, I love it. It's space themed. There's bolts everywhere. The bright colors. It fits. It shows that he's going up against something from space. I love it.
Jay?
I love it. It gives that intimidation meter and bumps it up to 10. It really feels like it's a sci-fi type of thing, and it looks really good. Gives noteworthy name for Space Godzilla. Really sets up the tone for this, and it looks so good.
Okay, don't hate me. I'm gonna be honest here. It's whatever. It gives me Trendmaster vibes. I grew up on the Trendmaster toys, but it's whatever, you know? I mean, I like Space Godzilla's coloration. I think it's really cool. I love that kind of pop art look. I love that. But like Godzilla, Baby Godzilla, Mogira, Mothra, the the buildings and stuff, I just, they're whatever. I just, whatever. Don't hate me.
It's okay. We're not gonna
I'd-
all of a sudden pull out pitchforks and try to put on masks and try to go out of the door and try to hunt you down. Don't worry.
I think
You'll be
somebody's
fine.
going to. Advertising wise though, Bianca, what do you think?
I mean, it fits well. I mean, if it didn't have the Treadmaster's look, then definitely, yeah.
So I am not the only one that sees that, right?
I mean,
Yeah, you're
the colorations
not wrong.
and bit of
Trendmaster.
design do kind of look Treadmasters.
Okay, good. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Jay, what do you think? Does it advertise well?
Yeah, it really does. You're not the only one who sees that sort of problem with the Trendmasters thing. Still, it really does bring that intimidation factor, and it does really actually help with bringing a lot of people in. This really does look more sci-fi-ish, looks more spacious. You see like a lot in the background, and you just see more out of the atmosphere of space.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot real quick. Did we all three vote for advanced on Mechagodzilla?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I was sure. I was just making sure. Yeah, I think it's okay. It's whatever. Like I said, it's middle of the road poster for me. Moving on to theater poster. Color style, Bianca. What do you think?
I really do wish that they would have done a better job with the coloration on Space Godzilla. Because it just feels the blue, like his navy blue is kind of overwhelming. I kind of like they set the tool to make it go bright than they should, than adding much more shading and detail like Godzilla and Mogira. But other than that, it still has the same kind of like tone to the first trailer, not trailer, poster image. Sorry.
It feels like Space Godzilla is trying to cosplay like a Jedi or something. He's trying to be a Force ghost in this one. The colors here is fine. The background for the space, though, doesn't feel any lively. I don't feel anything in the background for anything at all. And Mogira looks fine. Looks like he's trying to be Superman all of a sudden. But, everything looks fine. It doesn't look too great, too good, just fine.
I love this. We're all over the place on this poster. I like Space Godzilla's kind of overarching blue. It kind of gives me the sense that Space Godzilla's taking over. That's kind of what it gives me. But I do agree, Mogira he's thrown on there because he's in the movie. I don't think they actually care about him. Same with Baby Godzilla and Mothra. Mothra was thrown in the movie just for Mothra. That's also on the movie's fault, personally, but I feel like if it was just Godzilla and Space Godzilla and maybe have the blue of Space Godzilla taking over like a red of Godzilla, I think that would look better. But it's fine, you know. Overall though, advertising, Bianca, do you think it worked?
I think it works just as good as the first one. Good advertising.
And Jay?
It works as advertising, but I'll say that the advanced poster really pulls more people in. It gets people a bit confused on the theatrical, just feels a bit off, and you get to see how, like, oh, they didn't really care too much about Mogira, Godzilla Jr., and Mothra here. They seem like they don't really matter as much, and it doesn't really makes you feel anything towards it. So some majority of people will be like, oh, this fine. This might be worth watching one or two
I guess.
times.
I'll say it works for advertising. It shows what it is. Now, I think I know the final verdict on this, but Bianca, favorite poster out of these two?
Advanced, definitely.
Advance. Uh, Jay?
The Advance.
Okay, this is honestly a hard decision for me. I like the Advance, but I also don't mind the theatrical. The only thing I don't like about the Advance is Trendmaster's Godzilla. But I'm just gonna go Advance, because why not? Um, Now, originally we were going to do Orochi, Rebirth of Mothra 1, 2, and 3, but due to time constraints, we're just going to go through Destroya, and then we will pick our final verdict. So starting off with the advanced poster for Destroya, you have Burning Godzilla. In like the heart of that, you can see Godzilla Jr. kinda, and you have Destroya looking all devilish with his wings up. Bianca, what do you think about the color and style of this poster?
Now this is something that I could definitely go for. The colorations with the blue and the red, those fit perfectly. And the style of the characters, Destroyer has to be one of the most scariest ones in here because he literally looks like Satan himself, ready to like destroy everything in his path unless Godzilla stops him.
Jay, what's your thoughts?
This is really, really good. This is something that I would definitely go for. Destroya looks monstrous as heck. You could literally tell how much of an abomination Destroya is. And the red hues with everything else, with the blue, mixes so well. I never seen red and blue actually mix this well before. This really is a fine poster right here. This really mixes in very well.
Okay. Personally, I like it. It's fine. I don't know. Godzilla Jr. feels a little forced in, but I also like the fact that it's kind of like that's his heart. I kind of like the family aspect they kind of threw in there, kinda. And like Bianca said, Destroya looks like the devil. I love that. I love that. That is exactly what Destroya should be. He's a
This
devilish monster.
Destroyer is an abomination slash a demon.
The only thing I would say I don't like is the buildings below. I kind of feel like those are kind of tacked on. I would have loved if like they had fire, like it's I don't know. But like have Godzilla kind of in heaven, he's got the blue and the yellows, the color coming off of him, and destroy, the fiery flames of hell or something. I think that would look pretty cool if they had done something like that. But they also kind of hint towards that. You can see some red where Destroya is, and as it goes up, it's brighter and brighter. Uh,
Yeah, the fire feels pretty dull in the city too. I do agree with that. Doesn't have too much going down there. Just a few fires here and there. You can just see some on the building, but it's very bleak.
but overall, I don't mind it. Advertising, we'll just get a quick yay or nay from everybody.
Yes.
Uh,
Yep.
Jay? And I'll say yes too. Theatrical poster, it's got Destroya doing some weird Star Wars thing where half of his face is black, the other part is red, and Burning Godzilla just kind of doing what Burning Godzilla does over.
Ooh,
Um,
George Lucas gonna sue someone.
uh, Bianca, color and style, do you like it?
This is probably the only kind of theatrical poster that we've ever seen where the colorations fit. Nothing's out of place, like nothing feels like too photoshopped. I like Destroya in the corner. That really does fit well. But I just wish maybe if they hidden the design more, maybe that can give it mystery and like, oh shoot, oh god, fear. And I just like the Godzilla, and the buildings aren't as much in the way in this one, which is good. It's just
Yes.
kind of there on the bottom with the red. Good.
Jay?
The red hues and everything else here are really good. This might be one of the best theatrical posters that you would probably see coming out of these. It doesn't feel photoshopped. It looks like everything looks like it's been hidden there. Nothing feels forced, and everything just feels nice.
I see. I do agree. I I do wish I like Bianca's thoughts of having him more hidden. However, I think what I would have done is maybe move it so it's just half of his face and the rest is cut off. But I do like Destroya looking kind of like a mean, destructive, looming power over Godzilla. And I do agree with Bianca. The buildings look good. They do not get in the way. You are absolutely right there. That is great. Um, and I do just want to point out, like, I know we've crapped over the photoshopping, but I also think this is really cool because we get to see from 1984 to 1995 how much technology advanced from photoshopping looked kind of good but mostly bad to Photoshop looking good. I mean, it's like Bianca said, the Photoshop in this poster does not look bad. It looks generally good, and I agree. So, as much as we've crapped over it, I do understand why it looks bad, but I also, like I said, I love how it shows progression through the Godzilla franchise. And as the films have done themselves, the posters also reflect that photoshopping skill. Originally, like I said, we were going to do Orochi and Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, um, but due to time constraints, we will not. All I will say is the Orochi poster, advanced poster, was done by the same person, Nooroshi Ohari, I butchered that name, who actually did the advanced posters for all of these advanced poster movies. Um, before we do our final verdict, advanced or theater poster for Destroya? Bianca?
I'm gonna have to go. This is actually a really tough one. I can't decide because the illustration one looks really cool and is like terrifying, but yet the second one is well done as well with its photoshopping. It's hard. I wish I could say both. Can we just agree? Maybe both?
At this point, I'm
How
with
about this?
Bianca. I'm stuck now.
It's the last poster. You can vote for both.
Yes.
Okay, so let's boom and boom. Close crowd. Which one do you prefer?
I prefer. It's tough. Ah! I would say advanced. Though the theatrical looks so freaking good with its Photoshop. Like, at least it's generally good. But the illustration on the top just looks so more intimidating and feels like it's just there. It really has like a nice sense of feeling for like heaven and hell. I would go preparation for advanced.
Advance. And I am going to go with theater. I like the advance, but I do kind of feel like Destroy is a little too shiny. I'm not crapping on it. I still like the poster, but I will go with. So the final count is advance, 15 votes. Theater, 7. So here is the final thing we will be discussing. What is the best what is the best poster out of all the ones we've discussed? Close crowd, we'll let you go this.
I would say the best one would be Space Godzilla. I'm just only mixed between like either of the two because both Space Godzilla's advanced poster and Mecha Godzilla's poster looks so good. Both of the advanced versions just looks perfect, and I love them. I wish I could go for both, but I have to pick for one, which will have to be the Space Godzilla advanced poster. It just looks so sci-fi-ish, just looks so good, and I just really, really love the tone that it's going for there.
Okay. Bianca, what's your pick?
It's tricky because I have 3 favorites, which is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, and Godzilla vs. Destroyer. I like both Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla's advanced posters, while with Destroyer, I like its theatrical poster. I like the 3. The boys look good. I love them.
I think we'll leave with that answer. And I'm just gonna, I love King Ghidorah, but like I said, if they did an anime of it, I think it would look awesome. I'm going with Mechagodzilla. I love that poster. Mechagodzilla's really awesome in it. Rodan looks like he's a crazy person. Godzilla looks pretty mean. So I'm going with that one. Before we end this fine episode, what should posters be today? That is a question I want to not only have us 3 quickly say our thoughts on, but I want everybody listening at home to think about that question. What should posters be today? We have just went through the 80s and 90s era of Godzilla. But there are still the 50s, 60s, and 70s, along with 2000s and the 2010s. What is a good poster? Is it promotion, like we discussed with advertising? Is it the style and the artistic side, like all the advanced posters? Is it an even between them, like Godzilla 1984? We said no. But what do you guys think? I want you to dwell on that, and I want you to not only, if you don't have Twitter, email us at kaijuconversation@gmail.com. I want you to tell us your opinion. I want you to either email us, go to our Twitter at kaiju_converse at KAIJU_CONVERS and tell us there. Tell us on our Discord server, so please join that if you want to, or comment in our YouTube comment. What makes a poster good? What should they be today? Before I end us up with linking all of our stuff, Bianca, what should a poster be today?
I feel like posters should be more illustrated to bring more creativity. And I do like the theatrical posters with the actual costumes or CGI. But I feel like with adding more like an art medium of like illustrations or paintings, that should be brought up more. And to advertise it more than just either giving false designs or giving like concept ideas that are just thrown in the garbage. That's what I feel should be put more into the poster. Just love and care.
I like that answer. Close crowd, what should a poster be today?
I feel posters should be given more creative value and given more love and care, so that way they could be given more creativity, more art.
Yeah? Well, I think I'm gonna leave this on a cliffhanger. My favorite version is, you'll have to check in the next episode. I'm kidding. I think posters should be from the heart. I think the filmmaker should have a choice in the poster. I think what Nariyoshi or Hari, I'm screwing that name up, I'm so sorry. What he did is art. That's one of the highlights from the Heisei era. Is those posters he made. Those posters are huge impacts on the movies. Because those were the first impressions. I'm not an artist. I can't even draw a stick figure correct. But people like Bianca are the reason why movies are good, because of the art that's put into them. Now, it doesn't have to be moving. It can be concept art. It can be storyboards. It can be the posters. But art should always be put with love and care. I feel like movie posters nowadays are photos taken, thrown up, putting on all the special, like, Legendary, Warner Brothers, Universal, a film by Michael Dougherty, starring Joe Jackson
I
and the Hooligans.
was giving such a great speech, and I got cut off.
I missed that.
Ah. Oh well.
Cut that out, Frank. The part there. But art is just, posters are art. It should be treated as art. I respect people for making beautiful artwork. And I think what posters should be today is from the heart and art. I know that rhymed. I did not mean to make that rhyme.
No, that's
Um,
actually good.
But just, if anybody here is working on posters, listening, or if Bianca, if you become famous, I want you to remember me. But
Please remember me.
it comes from the heart. Do not take photos and cutouts. Yes, they look good sometimes, but it's always good to make what you want. That's what drawing and illustrations do better than Photoshop. As I've said, I prefer drawings instead of Photoshop. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to draw what I want to make, so I have to Photoshop it. But when I see what people can do when they draw, it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's art. So, posters, the artwork made from an artist that loves what they're doing. That's what a poster should be today to me. Well, Bianca, where can we find you at?
Well, ET, you guys can find me over on my YouTube channel, Bianca Wallace, my Instagram at Barris the Last Tribe 23, and there is my DeviantArt, Bianca Wallace 23, but I don't usually go on there as much. But I'm mostly active on my YouTube and Instagram.
Awesome. Please check those out. She does great art. Close Crowd or Jay, what can we find you anywhere?
You can find me on my Twitter or on Discord. I'm mostly active on those places.
Gotcha.
And perhaps in the future, maybe I'll look on the YouTube. But furthermore, I'm more active on Twitter and Discord.
I gotcha. And I am ET13 Production, or, yeah, I'm still getting used to the new way I do it. I apologize.
It's okay.
can-
I got cut off from my famous speech. You're not the only one who got screwed over. It's fine.
You can find me on YouTube as ET13 Productions, or on the Twitter at ET13 Productions. As I said, follow us on Twitter at Kaiju Converse. Email us. Thank you, our editor Frank, for editing these episodes. The last two have been long. My apologies. Follow us on any platform you can, like Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or anything we're on. Subscribe to us on YouTube. If you have any questions, comments, or reviews, leave them on our email, like I said, or Twitter, or if you can, please rate us on iTunes. That boosts our reviews, and that helps us get on people's recommendations. Like I said before, if you haven't already, join our Discord server. We have a lot of fun there, daily questions, weekly writing prompts, and now you have a job. Tell us what poster should be today. I expect all 5 of you listeners to give us a response. And if you want to, check out our store merchandise. It will be linked in our YouTube description. If not, just look up Kaiju Conversation, and it will be or you may have to look up t-shirts, but just look for the one from Teespring. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been the Kaiju Conversation crew. I think we had a pretty good discussion this week. And
For sure.
yes. And as always, we talk big every week.